Peter Habler was born on July 22, 1942, in the town of Zell am See, in the Austrian Alps. Surrounded by some of the most stunning and rugged mountain landscapes in the world, it was no surprise that Habler developed a deep connection to the mountains from a young age. His early life in Austria, in close proximity to the Alps, would shape his future and ignite his passion for mountaineering. Growing up in the Alpine region, Habler began skiing and hiking as a child, spending much of his time exploring the nearby hills and valleys. His affinity for the mountains blossomed when, as a teenager, he started to explore climbing. With the encouragement of local mountaineers and outdoor enthusiasts, he quickly became fascinated with the challenge and the thrill of scaling steep peaks. Habler's first major mountaineering experience came in his late teens, when he participated in a climbing expedition in the Alps. The experience solidified his love for mountaineering and served as a stepping stone for his future career. Throughout the early years of his climbing career, Habler was largely self-taught, relying on the knowledge he gained from books, climbing partners, and his own trials and errors. His early climbs were in the Alps, where he honed his technical skills in alpine climbing, perfecting the delicate art of rock, ice, and mixed climbing. These early experiences proved to be pivotal, laying the groundwork for his legendary career as one of the greatest mountaineers in history. Career peak: the conquest of Everest and breaking boundaries. Peter Habler's career took off in the 1960s and 1970s as he began to build a reputation as one of the top climbers in the world. His success on various peaks across the Alps and other mountain ranges earned him recognition in the mountaineering community. However, it was his partnership with fellow Austrian mountaineer Reinhold Messner that would propel him to global fame and solidify his place in the history of mountaineering. In 1978, Habler and Messner achieved one of the most remarkable feats in the history of mountaineering when they became the first climbers to reach the summit of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. At the time, Everest was considered an unconquerable peak without the use of supplemental oxygen, as the lack of oxygen at such high altitudes posed a significant danger to climbers. The use of supplemental oxygen had become a standard practice for mountaineers attempting the peak, as the low atmospheric pressure at such heights makes breathing difficult and increases the risk of altitude sickness. Despite the dangers, Habler and Messner were determined to attempt the summit without supplemental oxygen. Their historic achievement on May 8, 1978, made headlines worldwide and marked a turning point in the history of high-altitude mountaineering. The climb was a remarkable display of physical endurance, mental resilience, and technical skill. Habler, who was in peak physical condition, played an integral role in the success of the expedition. His ability to push his limits and endure the hardships of the climb was crucial to the pair's success. The ascent of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen shattered the prevailing belief that it was impossible to summit the world's highest peak without additional oxygen. Habler and Messner's feat opened the door for future climbers to attempt similar ascents without relying on external oxygen, and fundamentally changed the way mountaineers approached high-altitude climbs. Habler's success did not end with his Everest ascent. Over the following years, he continued to achieve impressive feats, climbing several of the world's highest peaks. His experience on Everest and his fearless approach to climbing set him apart as one of the greatest mountaineers of his era. Habler made numerous first ascents of challenging peaks, including several in the Himalayas, and became known for his refusal to shy away from difficult and dangerous climbs. His technical climbing abilities and high-altitude expertise made him one of the most sought-after climbing partners in the world. In addition to his achievements in the Himalayas, Habler was also known for his work in the European Alps, where he completed a number of difficult and innovative climbs. His passion for the mountains remained undiminished, and he continued to seek out new challenges throughout his career. Main achievements: the legacy of a climbing pioneer. Peter Habler's career is defined by his groundbreaking accomplishments, his extraordinary technical abilities, and his commitment to advancing the sport of mountaineering. His main achievements are numerous and include the following. First ascent of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen 1978. Habeler's most famous achievement came when he and Reinhold Messner became the first climbers to reach the summit of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. This groundbreaking ascent changed the way mountaineers approached high-altitude climbs and remains one of the most significant milestones in the history of mountaineering. Record-breaking climbs in the Himalayas. In addition to his Everest ascent, Habeler achieved numerous other significant climbs in the Himalayas, including successful summits of peaks such as Lhotse, Makalu, and Cho Oyu. These climbs further cemented his reputation as one of the top high-altitude climbers of his time. Alpine climbs and first ascents in Europe. Habeler was also known for his achievements in the European Alps. He completed several challenging and first ascents in the region, demonstrating his prowess in alpine climbing and his ability to navigate complex rock and ice terrain. Endurance and stamina in extreme conditions. One of Habeler's defining characteristics was his ability to endure extreme conditions. His ability to climb without supplemental oxygen at such high altitudes was a testament to his physical and mental stamina. He was known for his calm demeanor in the face of adversity and his ability to think clearly and make decisions under pressure. Pioneering attitude toward climbing. Habeler was a pioneer in the mountaineering world, constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible in the sport. His willingness to take on seemingly impossible challenges and his innovative approach to climbing inspire generations of climbers to think outside the box and challenge conventional norms. Final years, a legacy of mentorship and adventure. In the years following his peak achievements, Peter Habeler gradually transitioned away from high-altitude expeditions and focused on sharing his knowledge and experience with the next generation of climbers. Although he continued to climb throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Habeler's focus shifted toward mentoring young climbers and inspiring others to pursue their own mountaineering goals. Habeler also became involved in various environmental and conservation efforts, advocating for the preservation of the world's mountain ecosystems and the protection of the natural beauty of the Himalayas. He spoke out about the environmental impact of mountaineering and worked to raise awareness about the challenges facing mountain environments to climate change and overexploitation by climbers. His passion for the mountains extended beyond climbing, and he became a vocal advocate for the responsible and sustainable practice of mountaineering. In addition to his work as a mentor and environmental advocate, Habeler continued to be involved in climbing expeditions, albeit at a less competitive level. He led expeditions to other mountain ranges, sharing his vast expertise with aspiring climbers and helping them to achieve their own summits. Habeler also wrote books about his experiences, providing insights into the world of high-altitude climbing and the challenges he faced in his illustrious career. In recent years, Peter Habeler has remained a respected figure in the mountaineering world, often invited to speak at events, participate in climbing festivals, and attend mountaineering summits. He continues to inspire climbers with his incredible story and legacy. Though he no longer tackles the world's highest peaks as he once did, his influence in the sport is felt by mountaineers around the globe. As of today, Peter Habeler is celebrated as one of the greatest mountaineers of all time, remembered for his groundbreaking accomplishments and his dedication to the sport. His contributions to mountaineering, both as an athlete and as a mentor, have shaped the modern era of the sport, and his legacy continues to inspire climbers and adventurers worldwide. Junko Tabei, born on September 22, 1939, in Miharu, a small town in the Fukushima Prefecture of Japan, is celebrated as one of the most pioneering and accomplished mountaineers in history. Her journey to becoming the first woman to summit Mount Everest and the first woman to complete the 7 summits was not an easy one. Born into a time when women's roles were largely defined by traditional expectations, Tabei's rise in the male-dominated field of mountaineering would become a symbol of resilience, determination, and the breaking of barriers. Growing up in post-war Japan, Tabei faced many societal challenges. As a young girl, she was introduced to the outdoors and nature through hiking trips with her family. It was during these early excursions that she first developed a love for the mountains. Despite her passion for outdoor adventures, the prevailing gender norms of the time often made it difficult for women to pursue such activities, particularly in Japan, where women's participation in outdoor sports and extreme activities was uncommon. Tabei's desire to climb began to take shape during her time at Japan's Showa Pharmaceutical University, where she was enrolled in the 1950s. At university, she joined the hiking club, and her interest in climbing steadily deepened. The mountains, she later explained, offered her a sense of freedom and a challenge that she found in no other part of her life. However, pursuing mountaineering at this time was a significant struggle, as there were few role models for women in the sport, and societal expectations around femininity did not align with the rugged, physically demanding world of high-altitude climbing. Despite these challenges, Tabei's passion for mountaineering grew stronger, and she soon found herself determined to scale higher peaks, even though opportunities were scarce for female climbers. This perseverance, despite the barriers placed before her, would later define her career. Career peak: scaling Everest and the Seven Summits. Junko Tabei's career took a historic turn in 1975, when she became the first woman in the world to summit Mount Everest, the tallest peak on Earth. This achievement remains one of the defining moments of her career, a symbol of her trailblazing spirit and her determination to shatter gender barriers in mountaineering. However, her journey to the top of Everest was anything but easy. In 1975, Tabei was leading an all-female Japanese expedition to Everest. The team faced extreme challenges on their ascent, including severe weather conditions, the risk of avalanches, and the sheer physical demands of the climb. Tabei's leadership, determination, and resilience played a vital role in guiding her team to the summit. On May 16, 1975, she reached the summit of Mount Everest, an extraordinary achievement that established her as one of the world's most accomplished mountaineers. But Tabei's success on Everest was not just a personal victory. Her achievement opened doors for women in mountaineering and inspired countless female climbers around the world. By breaking the gender barrier on the world's highest mountain, she demonstrated that women could compete at the highest level in a field that had long been dominated by men. Following her success on Everest, Tabei continued to break records and blaze trails in the mountaineering world. In the years that followed, she completed the Seven Summits, an extraordinary accomplishment that involves climbing the highest peak on each of the 7 continents. Her successful summits of Kilimanjaro in Africa, Denali in North America, and Aconcagua in South America further solidified her place as a pioneer in mountaineering. Tabei's triumphs were not limited to her personal accomplishments. As an advocate for women in the sport, she actively encouraged and mentored young women climbers, aiming to inspire the next generation of female mountaineers. Her work as a mountaineering instructor and speaker also helped to create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for women in the mountaineering community. Main achievements: breaking records and shaping mountaineering. Junko Tabei's main achievements extended far beyond her personal summits. She became a symbol of possibility for women in the mountaineering world, and her influence reached the global stage. Here are some of her most significant achievements. First woman to summit Mount Everest. Tabei's most famous achievement came in 1975 when she became the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. This milestone shattered the prevailing belief that women were physically incapable of undertaking such extreme feats and helped to pave the way for other female climbers in the years to come. Completion of the 7 summits. Tabei is also celebrated for being the first woman to complete the 7 summits. This challenging mountaineering challenge involves reaching the highest peaks on each of the 7 continents. Her successful summits included Mount Everest Asia, Aconcagua South America, Denali North America, Mount Kilimanjaro Africa, Mount Elbrus Europe, Vinson Massif Antarctica, Mount Kosciuszko Australia. By completing the 7 summits, Tabei set a record that would be an inspiration to climbers for decades, particularly for women in mountaineering, who had often been discouraged from taking on such ambitious goals. Climbing and advocacy. Beyond her personal climbs, Tabaj worked to promote mountaineering as an activity accessible to everyone, regardless of gender. She advocated for the inclusion of women in the sport, encouraging them to take on climbing as a way to challenge themselves and broaden their horizons. She was also an outspoken proponent of environmental conservation, stressing the importance of preserving mountain environments in the face of increasing tourism and climate change. National and international recognition. Tabaj's achievements earned her widespread recognition in both Japan and internationally. She was awarded several prestigious awards, including the Japanese National Medal of Honor and recognition from various mountaineering organizations. Tabaj's recognition as an ambassador for mountaineering and as a champion for women's rights in the sport earned her numerous accolades, including invitations to speak at global events and institutions. Author and advocate for women. In addition to her climbing career, Tabaj was an author who wrote extensively about her experiences in the mountains. Her book Everest, A Climber's Life, published in 1999, provided an insight into her personal and professional life, as well as her views on the challenges faced by women in mountaineering. Tabaj's advocacy also extended to promoting women's leadership and equality, both in mountaineering and beyond. Challenges faced and setbacks. While Junko Tabaj's career was one of exceptional triumphs, it was not without its challenges and setbacks. The world of high-altitude mountaineering has always been a male-dominated field, and Tabaj faced significant resistance and skepticism from both men and women who believed that women were not suited for such extreme pursuits. Her early years as a mountaineer were marked by a lack of financial resources, societal discouragement, and the physical toll of extreme climbs. One of the most notable setbacks in Tabaj's life was her battle with cancer. In 2012, Tabaj was diagnosed with peritoneal cancer, a type of cancer affecting the abdominal lining. Despite this diagnosis, Tabaj maintained a positive outlook and continued to remain active. Even though her health was deteriorating, her perseverance during this difficult period is another testament to her strength and resilience, as she refused to let the disease define her or take away her passion for mountaineering. Moreover, during her expeditions, Tabaj often had to navigate the physical and logistical challenges of climbing in hostile environments, including the high altitudes, harsh weather conditions, and unpredictable terrain that come with summiting the world's tallest mountains. These obstacles were compounded by the challenges of organizing expeditions as a woman in a male-dominated world. Final years and legacy. In her later years, Tabaj continued to inspire future generations of climbers, particularly women, by participating in various outreach programs, giving talks, and encouraging young people to pursue mountaineering. She remained an advocate for the promotion of women in extreme sports, tirelessly working to break down the gender barriers in climbing. Though her health declined due to cancer, Tabaj's spirit and commitment to the mountaineering community remained unwavering. In the final years of her life, she devoted much of her time to sharing her knowledge and experiences with younger generations of climbers, ensuring that her legacy would continue far beyond her own personal achievements. Junko Tabaj passed away on October 20, 2016, but her legacy lives on in the mountaineering community. She inspired countless women and men alike to pursue their dreams of climbing, showing that with determination, resilience, and the willingness to break through barriers, anything is possible. Her journey from a young girl with a passion for the mountains to a global icon of mountaineering will always be remembered as a monumental achievement in the history of the sport. Achievements at a glance. First woman to summit Mount Everest, 1975. First woman to complete the 7 summits. Author of Everest, A Climber's Life. Advocate for women in mountaineering. Awarded Japan's National Medal of Honor. Environmental and gender equality advocacy. Conclusion. Junko Tabaj's legacy is one of resilience, courage, and determination. As the first woman to summit Mount Everest and the first woman to complete the 7 summits, She opened new doors for women in mountaineering and inspired generations to come. Her journey through the peaks of the world's highest mountains and her advocacy for gender equality and environmental sustainability continue to shape the mountaineering world today. Through her indomitable spirit, Junko Tabai demonstrated that the mountains are not just for the strongest climbers, but for anyone willing to take on the challenge regardless of gender, background, or circumstance. Sir Edmund Hillary was born on July 20, 1919, in Auckland, New Zealand, to a working-class family. Raised in the small town of Tuakau, Hillary was instilled with a sense of independence and a deep love for nature. His father, a beekeeper, and his mother, a school teacher, both influenced his work ethic and curiosity about the world. Though not originally a mountain climber, Hillary developed an early passion for the outdoors, particularly hiking and exploring the rugged terrain surrounding his hometown. His fascination with the natural world would later shape his extraordinary mountaineering career. Hillary attended the Auckland Grammar School and went on to study mathematics and science at the University of Auckland. While in school, he became involved in outdoor activities, including climbing, and he joined the New Zealand Alpine Club in 1939. However, the onset of World War II interrupted his studies. Hillary enlisted in the Royal New Zealand Air Force, where he served as a navigator in the Pacific during the conflict. His experiences in the military not only shaped his character, but also gave him the discipline and resolve that would become vital in his later mountaineering pursuits. After the war, Hillary returned to New Zealand, where he resumed his studies and began focusing more on climbing. He spent years refining his skills in mountaineering, primarily in the southern Alps of New Zealand. These early expeditions, often undertaken in challenging conditions, were formative experiences that helped develop his endurance, resilience, and technical proficiency as a climber. Hillary's journey into high-altitude mountaineering was characterized by a relentless pursuit of exploration. He was drawn to the mountains of the Himalayas, and by the early 1950s, he had already undertaken a series of significant climbs in the South Pacific region. His ambition to tackle larger and more demanding challenges grew stronger, setting the stage for what would become one of the most iconic careers in the history of exploration and mountaineering. Career peak: the conquest of Mount Everest. Sir Edmund Hillary's name became synonymous with one of the most monumental achievements in the history of human exploration, the first successful ascent of Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. In the 1950s, the challenge of summiting Everest had become one of the great quests for mountaineers. The peak, which stands at 8,848 meters (29,029 feet) above sea level, had proven elusive for many climbers, and a successful ascent had yet to be achieved. Hillary's journey to Everest began as part of a British expedition led by Colonel John Hunt in 1953. The team had been attempting to find a suitable route to the summit, and Hillary, along with the Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, was selected for a key attempt. In the days leading up to their summit bid, the conditions on the mountain were treacherous, with the climbers facing heavy snow, winds, and extreme cold. The two men's perseverance was tested as they navigated through dangerous crevasses and icy cliffs. On May 29, 1953, Hillary and Norgay made their historic final push to the summit. The two climbers reached the top of Everest at 11:30 a.m., and they became the first humans to stand on the roof of the world. They planted the British flag on the summit, marking a monumental achievement in the annals of exploration. The success of the Everest expedition made Hillary and Norgay global heroes, and it catapulted Hillary into international fame. The ascent of Mount Everest was not only a technical triumph, but also a symbol of human determination and endurance. Hillary's approach to the climb was methodical, relying on his technical skills and a calm, steady presence. His collaboration with Norgay was a testament to the importance of teamwork in mountaineering, especially in the extreme conditions of the Himalayas. While the ascent was an individual achievement, it was also a reflection of the combined efforts of the entire expedition team. The climb also held great significance for Hillary on a personal level. He was not only driven by the desire for fame or recognition, but by a deep respect for the mountain and the people who helped him achieve his goal. His partnership with Tenzing Norgay became one of the most iconic collaborations in the history of mountaineering, as the two men demonstrated the power of unity in the face of adversity. Main achievements: a lifelong legacy of exploration and adventure. Beyond the conquest of Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary's career as a mountaineer and explorer was marked by numerous other significant achievements. While his ascent of Everest in 1953 is his most celebrated accomplishment, Hillary's subsequent ventures into both the Himalayas and the polar regions continued to cement his place as one of the world's greatest adventurers. First ascent of Mount Everest, 1953. The most defining moment of Hillary's career came with the successful ascent of Mount Everest. His partnership with Tenzing Norgay not only led to the first summit of the world's highest peak, but also established Hillary as one of the foremost figures in the history of exploration. Their success was a testament to their courage, skill, and determination, as well as the teamwork between two men from vastly different cultural backgrounds. Subsequent Himalayan expeditions. Following his historic Everest climb, Hillary continued to explore the Himalayas. He undertook a number of expeditions to other peaks in the region and worked on advancing the safety and techniques of high-altitude mountaineering. His experience and reputation made him an authority on Himalayan climbing, and he became an important figure in the mountaineering community. South Pole Expedition 1958. In 1958, Hillary led the Commonwealth Trans-Antarctic Expedition, which sought to be the first to cross Antarctica via the South Pole. The team successfully made it to the South Pole, and Hillary's leadership and perseverance were crucial to the success of the mission. This expedition further established Hillary's legacy as a fearless explorer, and his work in Antarctica was celebrated for its contribution to scientific exploration. Contributions to Himalayan development. Later in life, Hillary focused much of his energy on humanitarian efforts in Nepal. He worked tirelessly to improve the lives of the Sherpa people and other mountain communities through the Himalayan Trust, which he established in 1960. The Trust's work included building schools, hospitals, and infrastructure in remote regions of Nepal. Hillary's commitment to the welfare of the Sherpa people became one of his most enduring legacies, and he was widely respected in Nepal for his selfless contributions. Author and public speaker. In addition to his mountaineering exploits, Hillary became a prolific author and public speaker. His autobiographies, High Adventure and View from the Summit, became bestsellers, sharing the stories of his adventures and the lessons he learned along the way. Hillary also lectured around the world, inspiring generations of adventurers and raising awareness about his charitable efforts in Nepal. Challenges and setbacks. Despite his many successes, Sir Edmund Hillary faced numerous challenges throughout his career. Mountaineering, especially at the highest altitudes, is fraught with danger, and Hillary was not immune to the physical and psychological toll of high-altitude climbing. The death of his first wife, Louise, in 1975, was a profound personal tragedy that greatly affected Hillary. They had 3 children together, and the loss of Louise left a deep hole in his life. Despite the hardship, Hillary continued his work in Nepal and his climbing pursuits, although his focus began to shift from personal expeditions to philanthropy. Hillary also faced opposition and skepticism from some quarters of the climbing community, particularly regarding the commercialization of mountaineering. His humble approach to climbing, coupled with his criticism of the growing commercial interest in Everest, was a point of contention. However, he remained steadfast in his belief that climbing should be about the adventure and the personal challenge, not just about the pursuit of fame or profit. Final years and legacy. In his later years, Hillary continued to be active in public life, balancing his work in mountaineering and humanitarian efforts. In 1987, he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his contributions to New Zealand and his role in the ascent of Everest. His commitment to his causes, including the welfare of the Sherpa people, made him a beloved figure in both New Zealand and Nepal. Hilary's final years were marked by a continued focus on his charitable work and writing. He passed away on January 11, 2008, at the age of 88. His death marked the end of an era in the history of exploration, but his legacy lives on in the countless mountaineers, explorers, and individuals whose lives he touched through his work and philanthropy. Today, Sir Edmund Hillary is remembered as a pioneer, a humanitarian, and an enduring symbol of perseverance and courage. His name is forever linked with the conquest of Mount Everest, but his contributions to the world extend far beyond the mountains he climbed. His impact on mountaineering, exploration, and the welfare of others will continue to inspire generations to come. Kami Rita Sherpa was born in 1970 in the Saluk Khumbu district of Nepal, in a small village called Thame, situated in the heart of the Himalayan region. Thame, a village known for its proximity to Mount Everest, is home to many Sherpa families, whose traditional livelihoods were centered around herding livestock and farming. Kami Rita grew up in a family with a deep connection to the mountains, as his ancestors had long been involved in guiding expeditions for climbers from around the world. From a young age, Kami Rita was exposed to the awe-inspiring beauty of the Himalayas and the culture of mountaineering that surrounded his community. His father, a well-respected Sherpa, worked as a guide for foreign climbers, and Kami Rita often accompanied him on his expeditions, learning the ways of the mountains. As a child, he was already accustomed to high-altitude living and was physically strong, making him well-suited to the demands of mountain climbing. Sherpas have long been regarded as the backbone of Himalayan expeditions, with their exceptional endurance, strength, and intimate knowledge of the terrain. Kami Rita's early exposure to mountaineering set him on a path that would lead to a legendary career as one of the most accomplished and respected mountaineers in the world. In his teenage years, Kami Rita began to formally train as a mountain guide, following in the footsteps of his father and older brothers. He learned the skills necessary for high-altitude mountaineering, including ice climbing, rope techniques, and navigation in extreme weather conditions, as is customary for many Sherpas. Kami Rita started by assisting foreign climbers on expeditions to lower peaks in the Himalayas before gradually working his way up to more challenging and dangerous climbs. His dedication, resilience, and exceptional climbing abilities quickly became apparent, and he was soon chosen to participate in expeditions to some of the most prestigious peaks in the world. Career peak: conquering Everest. Kami Rita's career as a mountaineer truly reached its peak when he turned his attention to the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest. At 8,848 meters, 29,029 feet, Everest represents the ultimate challenge for any climber, and it has captivated mountaineers from around the world for decades. For Sherpas like Kami Rita, however, the mountain is a part of their heritage, and guiding expeditions on Everest became a way of life. Kami Rita first summited Mount Everest in 1994, a significant achievement that marked the beginning of a remarkable series of successful ascents. Over the years, Kami Rita continued to climb Everest, guiding climbers from all corners of the world and cementing his reputation as one of the most skilled and reliable Sherpa guides in the Himalayas. He quickly gained a reputation for his deep knowledge of the mountain, his steady demeanor in dangerous situations, and his unmatched work ethic. Kami Rita's career reached a new milestone when, in 2018, he broke the world record for the most successful summits of Mount Everest by a single individual. He surpassed the previous record held by the legendary Sherpa Pa Sherpa, who had summited Everest 21 times. Kami Rita achieved his 22nd summit on May 15, 2018, a feat that not only solidified his place in mountaineering history, but also brought attention to the critical role that Sherpas play in the success of Everest expeditions. The record-breaking feat was an extraordinary testament to Kami Rita's unparalleled physical strength, mental fortitude, and mountaineering expertise. His achievements were not just a reflection of his personal skill, but also an acknowledgement of the vital contribution of Sherpas to the global climbing community. For many years, Sherpas like Kami Rita have been the unsung heroes of Himalayan climbing, often enduring the harshest conditions while ensuring the safety and success of foreign climbers. Kami Rita's success brought much-needed recognition to the Sherpa community and highlighted the sacrifices made by Sherpas in the pursuit of adventure and exploration. In 2019, Kami Rita further solidified his place in history by summiting Mount Everest for the 23rd time. His repeated success on Everest is a reflection of his extraordinary endurance and deep understanding of the mountain. Every summit is a grueling endeavor, requiring meticulous planning, incredible physical strength, and the ability to cope with the risks posed by the mountain's extreme altitude and unpredictable weather. Main achievements: record-breaking summits and contributions to the mountaineering community. Kami Rita's contributions to mountaineering go beyond his world record-breaking summits of Mount Everest. His achievements have helped to redefine the role of Sherpas in the world of high-altitude mountaineering, and he has become a symbol of perseverance, humility, and courage. Below some of his main achievements: record for most summits of Mount Everest. Kami Rita's most notable achievement: his record for the most successful summits of Mount Everest. As of 2021, he has summited the peak 26 times, surpassing the previous record held by both the Pa Sherpa and Phurba Tashi. His repeated summits are a reflection of his incredible endurance and his deep connection to the mountain. Kami Rita's ability to ascend Everest time and again, despite the numerous dangers associated with the climb, has earned him worldwide recognition. Pioneering role as a Sherpa guide: Kami Rita has played a crucial role in guiding hundreds of climbers from around the world to the summit of Mount Everest. His work as a Sherpa guide has ensured the safety and success of numerous expeditions, and his expertise has been relied upon by many well-known mountaineers. His role in supporting foreign climbers, particularly in the dangerous final stages of the ascent, has earned him the respect of his peers and climbers alike. Advocacy for Sherpa rights and recognition. Throughout his career, Kami Rita has been a vocal advocate for the rights and recognition of Sherpas. He has worked to ensure that Sherpas are adequately compensated for their work, and he has pushed for greater safety measures on Everest. Many Sherpas face dangerous conditions while guiding climbers, and Kami Rita has called for better treatment and respect for their contributions to the mountaineering industry. His advocacy has contributed to a growing awareness of the risks faced by Sherpas and the importance of their role in the mountaineering community. Humanitarian efforts. Kami Rita is also committed to giving back to his community. He has been involved in a number of charitable initiatives aimed at improving the lives of Sherpas and other residents of the Saluk Khumbu region. These efforts include fundraising for schools, healthcare facilities, and infrastructure projects that benefit the local population. His philanthropic work has had a significant impact on the lives of those living in the remote mountain villages of Nepal. Challenges and setbacks. Despite his many achievements, Kami Rita has faced numerous challenges throughout his career. The dangers of high-altitude mountaineering are well known, and climbing Mount Everest is fraught with risk. Over the years, Kami Rita has witnessed firsthand the risks involved in such extreme climbing, including the loss of fellow climbers and Sherpas. Many Sherpas, despite their skill and knowledge, have tragically lost their lives during Everest expeditions due to avalanches, falls, and other hazards. Kami Rita himself has encountered numerous close calls during his ascents, including exposure to severe weather, dangerous icefalls, and the unpredictable nature of Everest conditions. Despite these dangers, he has persevered, driven by his deep love for the mountains and his sense of duty to his clients and his community. The growing commercialization of Everest expeditions has also posed challenges for Sherpas like Kami Rita. With the increasing number of climbers attempting to summit Everest each year, the mountain has become overcrowded, leading to long delays, congestion in the climbing route, and heightened risks for climbers and Sherpas alike. Kami Rita has spoken out about these issues, calling for better regulation of expeditions to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone involved. Final years and legacy. In the later stages of his career, Kami Rita continues to be an active figure in the mountaineering community. His remarkable achievements have inspired countless climbers, both in Nepal and around the world, and he remains a key figure in the ongoing discussion about the future of mountaineering in the Himalayas. Kami Rita's legacy is not just defined by his record-breaking summits of Mount Everest, but also by his contributions to the Sherpa community and his unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of his fellow climbers. His story is one of resilience, dedication, and humility, and his achievements will continue to inspire future generations of climbers and adventurers. As of 2021, Kami Rita has made several more successful ascents of Everest, and his name is etched in the annals of mountaineering history. Kami Rita Sherpa remains a living legend of the mountains, a true hero of the Himalayas, and a testament to the power of human perseverance in the face of nature's most daunting challenges. His legacy will continue to shape the world of high-altitude mountaineering for years to come. Todd Burleson was born on June 7, 1969, in St. Paul, Minnesota, USA, a city that sits on the banks of the Mississippi River. Growing up in Minnesota, Todd developed an early interest in winter sports, influenced by the state's harsh winters and the numerous opportunities for outdoor activities. The cold temperatures and snow were not obstacles, but rather sources of inspiration for his youthful energy, which he channeled into various sports, particularly skiing. Burleson's athletic journey began at a young age when he first strapped on skis at the age of 5. From the start, he exhibited a natural aptitude for skiing, particularly downhill racing. His parents, who were both active outdoors, encouraged his participation in local ski programs and competitions. The demanding Minnesota winters provided ample opportunity for Burleson to refine his skills, as he frequently trained in alpine skiing at the many nearby resorts. His dedication to the sport was evident early on, as he quickly ascended through the ranks of local skiing competitions. As a teenager, Burleson's competitive spirit and raw talent began to shine. He joined the alpine ski team and began competing in regional and national events, quickly making a name for himself as one of the most promising young athletes in the sport. By the time he reached high school, Burleson was already being recognized for his exceptional talent in downhill racing, which set him on a path to pursue skiing at a higher level. His strong performances in local and regional competitions earned him a spot in national championships, where he began to attract attention from scouts and coaches across the country. Burleson's commitment to his craft, combined with his unwavering focus and drive to improve, made him a standout competitor. Despite facing tough competition from other skilled athletes, he consistently performed well and demonstrated the mental toughness required to excel in the highly competitive world of alpine skiing. Career peak. Rise to prominence. Todd Burleson's career took off in the early 1990s when he began to make a name for himself on the national and international ski circuits. With his talent, determination, and tireless work ethic, Burleson soon transitioned from a regional talent to a prominent figure in the world of competitive alpine skiing. In the early stages of his career, Burleson competed in a variety of events, but it was his performance in the national ski racing circuit that really set him apart. His strength in downhill and slalom races, combined with his ability to adapt to different race conditions, made him a versatile and well-rounded skier. Burleson's natural ability to read courses and anticipate difficult sections gave him a significant edge over many of his competitors. His major breakthrough came when he qualified for the prestigious U.S. ski team in the early 1990s. With this achievement, Burleson began to compete on the world stage, facing some of the best skiers from around the globe. His inclusion in the U.S. ski team was a testament to his skill, and it marked the beginning of his ascent to the peak of the sport. In his first season on the World Cup circuit, Burleson demonstrated his competitive edge by achieving strong finishes in several major events. He began to consistently perform in the top ranks, earning him recognition as one of the top up-and-coming skiers in the world. Burleson's career peak came during the mid-1990s, when he became a fixture on the World Cup circuit. His remarkable consistency and ability to perform under pressure made him a fan favorite. One of the defining moments of his career came in 1994 when he won his first World Cup victory in a thrilling downhill race. This win, a culmination of years of hard work, brought Burleson international acclaim and solidified his place as one of the top alpine skiers in the world. From 1994 to 1997, Burleson continued to climb the ranks, earning several podium finishes in World Cup events and becoming a key competitor in international competitions. He was known for his aggressive racing style, precision, and ability to take on challenging courses. Burleson's performances during this time were some of the most consistent of his career, earning him spots on the podium and securing his place one of the most talented American alpine skiers of the era. In 1997, Burleson had the honor of representing the United States at the 1997 World Alpine Ski Championships, where he finished in the top 10 in multiple disciplines. This accomplishment further solidified his standing as one of the world's best. As Burleson's career progressed, he gained recognition not just for his racing prowess, but also for his sportsmanship and leadership within the skiing community. Main achievements: a legacy of excellence. Throughout his career, Todd Burleson achieved numerous milestones that cemented his legacy as one of the most accomplished alpine skiers of his generation. Below one of his main achievements: World Cup victories and podium finish 1994 to 1997. Burleson's career highlights include his multiple podium finishes and a victory in a World Cup downhill race in 1994. This victory was a landmark moment in his career, showcasing his ability to compete at the highest level in one of the most challenging winter sports. Top 10 finished at the World Championships. Burleson competed in the World Alpine Ski Championships on several occasions, consistently finishing in the top 10 in various disciplines, including slalom and downhill. His success in these championships earned him a reputation as a skilled and consistent racer, capable of excelling in high-pressure situations. Olympic qualifications: Burleson's performances in World Cup events and the U.S. ski team selection races earned him a spot on the U.S. Olympic team for the Winter Games. Although he did not secure an Olympic medal, his qualification was a significant achievement that placed him among the world's elite skiers. The experience of representing his country on the Olympic stage was a defining moment in his career. Consistency and longevity in the sport: one of Burleson's most impressive attributes was his ability to maintain a high level of performance over a long career. His longevity in the sport, combined with his relentless pursuit of improvement, allowed him to remain competitive in the top ranks for many years. Mentorship and contribution to the skiing community: beyond his personal achievements, Burleson made significant contributions to the skiing community. After his competitive career ended, he transitioned into coaching, mentoring younger skiers, and helping to develop the next generation of talent. His insights into race strategy, mental preparation, and technique were highly regarded by those who sought his guidance. Final years: transition to coaching and beyond. In the years following his peak, Todd Burleson began to shift his focus away from competitive skiing and toward coaching and mentoring. Recognizing that his body had endured the physical toll of high-level competition, he made the decision to retire from the World Cup circuit in the late 1990s. However, his love for the sport and his passion for helping others remained strong. Burleson transitioned into a coaching role, working with young skiers and guiding them through the rigors of training and competition. He became a sought-after coach and mentor, known for his ability to teach not only the technical aspects of skiing, but also the mental resilience required to succeed in such a demanding sport. His coaching career flourished as he helped train aspiring athletes, passing on his extensive knowledge of ski racing. In addition to coaching, Burleson also became involved in the ski industry, working with brands to promote skiing as a sport and advocating for its growth and development. He participated in various events, giving talks and seminars about his career and the lessons he learned along the way. His work as an ambassador for skiing allowed him to remain connected to the sport he loved and continue to influence the next generation of skiers. As of today, Todd Burleson's legacy lives on through his achievements, both on and off the slopes. He remains a respected figure in the skiing world, known not only for his competitive success, but also for his contributions to the sport's growth and development. His life serves as an inspiration to those who wish to pursue their passions with determination and grit, no matter the obstacles they face. Burleson's impact on skiing, especially in the United States, is significant. His name is remembered not only for his prowess as a skier, but also for his mentorship and dedication to advancing the sport. Through his coaching and involvement in the ski industry, Todd Burleson has left an indelible mark on the world of winter sports, ensuring that his legacy endures for years to come. Santosh Yadav was born on the 10th of March 1967 in the small village of Janayawas in the state of Haryana, India. Growing up in rural India, Yadav came from a modest background and faced many challenges during her early years. Her family, though supportive, had limited resources, and Santosh's exposure to the world outside her village was minimal. However, her innate curiosity and adventure spirit led her to explore the world beyond her rural upbringing, setting the stage for an extraordinary journey into the world of mountaineering. Santosh's early interest in sports began when she joined the local school in her village, where she participated in athletics and other outdoor activities. Despite her limited access to modern sports facilities, she excelled in physical activities, often standing out for her athleticism and determination. Her initial exposure to mountaineering came when she joined the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering NIM at Arkashi in 1985. This decision was pivotal, as it would lead her into the realm of high-altitude climbing and ultimately shape the course of her life. At the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, Yadav received formal training in mountaineering. The rigorous curriculum, designed to push students both physically and mentally, made an indelible mark on her. She quickly adapted to the challenges of mountaineering, showing both strength and a rare determination that set her apart from her peers. Although she started her training later than most mountaineers, her tenacity and resilience ensured that she soon caught up with the most experienced climbers. It was here that Yadav began to develop her passion for mountaineering, drawn to the physical and mental challenges the sport posed. Career peak: conquering the highest peaks. Santosh Yadav's career took a significant leap in the late 1980s and early 1990s when she became one of the most renowned female mountaineers from India. In 1992, Yadav's career reached a milestone when she became the youngest woman in the world to successfully climb Mount Everest. This achievement not only marked the beginning of her rise to global recognition, but also solidified her as a trailblazer for Indian women in mountaineering. Yadav's Everest expedition was fraught with difficulty, as the harsh conditions of the world's highest peak took a toll on even the most seasoned climbers. Her decision to climb Mount Everest was motivated by her deep sense of determination and her desire to prove that Indian women could achieve extraordinary feats on the world stage. The climb was made even more challenging by the fact that it required high-altitude acclimatization and physical endurance, both of which Yadav had to master. In May 1992, after facing blizzards, freezing temperatures, and near-death experiences, Yadav reached the summit of Mount Everest. This achievement was particularly noteworthy for another reason. She was part of a team of Indian climbers, and during the expedition, she became the first woman to successfully scale the world's highest peak twice. Her achievement inspired many young women in India and around the world, demonstrating that the mountains were not just a male-dominated domain, but were open to women willing to push their limits. However, her path to success was not without its challenges. At the time, women in India faced numerous societal obstacles, including a lack of opportunities in competitive sports and physical training. Santosh Yadav's success served as a catalyst for change, challenging gender norms and opening up the possibility for more women to pursue mountaineering as a career. Santosh's second summit of Mount Everest, which she achieved in 1993, was equally remarkable. During this expedition, she was part of a joint Indo-Nepalese expedition and contributed significantly to the success of the team. Her determination, along with her ability to overcome mental and physical hurdles, made her a prominent figure in the mountaineering community. Main achievements: a record of excellence. Santosh Yadav's accomplishments in mountaineering are numerous and noteworthy. Her relentless pursuit of excellence and her ability to tackle extreme challenges made her one of the most accomplished mountaineers in the world. Below are some of her most significant achievements. First Indian woman to scale Mount Everest, 1992. Santosh Yadav made history when she became the first Indian woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. This was a groundbreaking achievement that earned her global recognition and placed her among the elite group of mountaineers who had conquered Everest. Summiting Mount Everest twice, Santosh Yadav achieved the remarkable feat of summiting Mount Everest twice, once in 1992 and again in 1993. This feat was especially notable as it was rare for climbers to summit the world's highest peak more than once without supplemental oxygen, particularly for women climbers at the time. A role in the 1992 Indo-Nepalese expedition, Santosh Yadav played a pivotal role in the 1992 Indo-Nepalese expedition to Mount Everest. Her leadership, resilience, and technical prowess in the expedition ensured the success of the team, and she was instrumental in supporting her teammates during their challenging climb. Record of climbing other high-altitude peaks. Aside from Everest, Yadav has summited several other notable peaks, including Kanchenjunga, the world's third highest peak, as well as peaks in the Himalayas like Nanda Devi, and many others in the Indian Himalayas. These climbs further established her as a leading figure in Indian mountaineering. Advocacy for women in sports. Santosh Yadav became a champion for gender equality in sports, advocating for more women to pursue mountaineering and extreme sports. Her success demonstrated that women could excel in physically demanding environments and paved the way for other Indian women to follow in her footsteps. Her journey proved that mountaineering was not bound by gender and was open to anyone with the will and determination to succeed. Awards and recognition. Santosh Yadav's achievements were recognized by several institutions and governments. She was awarded the Padma Bhushan, one of India's highest civilian honors, for her remarkable contributions to mountaineering. Additionally, she received the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award for her outstanding achievements in adventure sports. These honors reflected the immense respect and admiration she earned both in India and internationally. Final years, legacy and continued advocacy. After a highly successful career, Santosh Yadav transitioned away from high-altitude mountaineering to focus on spreading her knowledge and advocating for environmental conservation. In the years following her Everest expeditions, Yadav became actively involved in various charitable initiatives, including working with young climbers and inspiring them to pursue adventure sports. Her legacy as a mountaineer continued through her involvement in several adventure-related programs and sports organizations. Yadav worked closely with young people, especially girls, encouraging them to take up climbing and other adventure activities. She also emphasized the importance of physical fitness, mental toughness, and resilience, traits that she had developed during her own climbing journey. In addition to her advocacy for women in mountaineering, Yadav has become a strong advocate for environmental issues. She has been vocal about the dangers of climate change, particularly in the Himalayas, and has emphasized the need for sustainable climbing practices to preserve the delicate mountain ecosystems. She has participated in awareness campaigns to raise consciousness about the environmental impact of mountaineering expeditions, including waste management and the preservation of glaciers and high-altitude environments. Santosh Yadav continues to inspire climbers and adventure sports enthusiasts worldwide. Her journey from a small village in Haryana to becoming one of the most recognized mountaineers in the world is a testament to the power of perseverance, passion, and commitment. Yadav's impact is felt far beyond the mountains she has conquered. She has opened doors for future generations of women to to take part in the world of mountaineering and adventure sports. Though she no longer engages in high-altitude climbing, Santosh Yadav's influence is timeless. Her achievements have become a part of the history of mountaineering, and her role, a pioneer for women in sport, remains a source of inspiration to this day. As of today, Santosh Yadav lives a life of reflection, advocacy, and education, continuing to contribute to the world of mountaineering in profound and meaningful ways. Through her unwavering determination and groundbreaking accomplishments, Santosh Yadav has left a lasting legacy as one of the most respected and celebrated mountaineers of all time. Sir Chris Bonington was born on August 6, 1934, in Hampstead, London, England. Raised in the suburbs of London, Bonington developed an early interest in adventure and the outdoors. His passion for nature was fostered during childhood, where he spent considerable time exploring the countryside and pursuing various outdoor activities. From a young age, Bonington was captivated by the natural world and the challenges it posed. While many of his peers were content with traditional hobbies, he was drawn to the more daring pursuits of climbing, hiking, and exploring the mountains. Bonington's early fascination with climbing was sparked during a trip to the Lake District in the north of England. It was here that he discovered the thrilling world of rock climbing, a sport that would dominate his life in the years to come. As a teenager, he began climbing regularly, developing the strength, skill, and mental resilience required for mountaineering. Bonington's first significant mountaineering experiences were gained in the British Isles, where he honed his craft and began making a name for himself, a talented climber. After completing his education, Bonington pursued a career in the Royal Marines, which further developed his physical and mental toughness. However, his true calling lay in the mountains, and it was soon apparent that Bonington's heart was set on a life of exploration. In the early 1950s, he left the military to fully dedicate himself to climbing and mountaineering. He joined the British Mountaineering Council (BMC) and began climbing with some of the country's top climbers. Bonington was known for his persistence, discipline, and determination, qualities that would serve him well in his later expeditions. Career peak. Mountaineering triumphs. Sir Chris Bonington's mountaineering career reached its peak in the 1960s and 1970s, a period during which he became one of the world's most renowned and respected climbers. Throughout this period, he completed a series of groundbreaking climbs in some of the most challenging regions of the world, including the Alps, the Himalayas, and the Karakoram Range. His expeditions took him to some of the most remote and dangerous places on Earth, and he became known for his daring spirit and unflinching courage in the face of peril. One of the defining features of Bonington's career was his ability to tackle major climbs in the world's most dangerous mountain ranges. His first major international climb was in the Swiss Alps, where he led a team to a successful summit of the Eiger's North Face in 1961, an ascent that brought him to the attention of the global climbing community. The Eiger, famous for its steepness and unpredictable weather, had been a challenging and dangerous climb for many before Bonington, but he and his team succeeded, solidifying his reputation as a skilled and daring mountaineer. In the mid-1960s, Bonington shifted his focus to the Himalayas, which would become the centerpiece of his climbing career. In 1963, he participated in the first British expedition to Mount Everest, though he did not reach the summit on that occasion. However, this expedition laid the foundation for his future Himalayan climbs. In 1970, Bonington was part of the team that successfully summited the south face of Annapurna, a difficult and dangerous ascent that had eluded many climbers before him. Annapurna's reputation for being one of the most treacherous peaks in the world made this climb a milestone in Bonington's career. Bonington's crowning achievement came in 1975 when he became the first person to successfully climb the southwest face of Mount Everest. This climb was one of the most complex and dangerous in history, and it required Bonington to lead his team through severe weather conditions, high-altitude challenges, and technical rock climbing. This remarkable feat cemented his status as one of the world's greatest mountaineers and earned him widespread acclaim. The successful ascent of Everest was also significant because it marked a major advancement in climbing techniques and strategies for tackling extreme peaks, influencing future generations of climbers. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Bonington continued to push the boundaries of mountaineering. He led numerous successful expeditions, including a legendary 1985 attempt on K2, the world's second highest peak. While K2 proved to be too dangerous to summit on that particular expedition, Bonington's leadership and determination were widely admired. His mountaineering feats were not limited to summiting towering peaks. He was also known for his skill in rock climbing, ice climbing, and pioneering new routes on some of the world's most challenging mountains. Main achievements, landmark climbs, and contributions to mountaineering. Sir Chris Bonington's career is defined by a series of pioneering climbs and significant contributions to the world of mountaineering. Below are some of his most notable achievements. The first British ascent of the south face of Annapurna in 1970. One of Bonington's early triumphs came in 1970 when he led a team to the summit of Annapurna via the south face, one of the most dangerous and technically difficult routes in the Himalayas. The success of this expedition was a defining moment in Bonington's career, as it demonstrated his ability to lead expeditions in some of the world's most challenging terrain. Mount Everest Southwest Face, 1975. Perhaps Bonington's most celebrated achievement was his 1975 expedition to the southwest face of Mount Everest. His successful ascent of this challenging route, which had previously been attempted by other climbers without success, was a monumental achievement in the history of mountaineering. This climb solidified his place as one of the top mountaineers of his generation. The first ascent of the north face of the Old Man of Hoy, 1966. Bonington is also credited with making the first successful ascent of the north face of the Old Man of Hoy, a sea stack in Orkney, Scotland, in 1966. This ascent is widely regarded as one of the most significant achievements in British rock climbing history. Leadership on major expeditions. Bonington's leadership skills were instrumental in the success of numerous major expeditions. As the leader of many high-profile climbs, he demonstrated exceptional organizational and strategic abilities, ensuring the safety of his team while pushing the limits of what was possible in mountaineering. His leadership during the 1975 Everest expedition is often cited as a textbook example of how to manage a high-altitude climb. Authorship and advocacy for mountaineering. Bonington's contributions to mountaineering extend beyond his climbing achievements. He has written several books about his experiences, including Everest the Hard Way, which recounts his 1975 Everest expedition, and Mountains of the Mind, a reflective work about the psychology of mountaineering. Bonington's writing has inspired and educated future generations of climbers, and his advocacy for mountaineering safety and ethics has had a lasting impact on the sport. Challenges, setbacks, and risk. Despite his many triumphs, Bonington's career was not without its challenges and setbacks. Mountaineering, particularly on peaks like Everest, involves inherent risks, and Bonington faced many moments of peril throughout his career. He experienced firsthand the dangers of avalanches, extreme weather, and altitude sickness, which claimed the lives of fellow climbers and friends. On several occasions, Bonington found himself in life-threatening situations, only to emerge stronger and more determined. One of the most difficult periods in Bonington's life came during the 1970s when the climbing community was rocked by the deaths of several of his close friends and climbing partners. The loss of these individuals, particularly during his 1975 Everest expedition, was a stark reminder of the risks involved in high-altitude climbing. Bonington's resilience and ability to continue pursuing his passion despite these tragedies were key aspects of his character. Final years and legacy. As Bonington entered his later years, he began to focus more on sharing his experiences with others, through lectures, books, and mentorship. Though he no longer climbs to the heights he once did, his legacy as a pioneering mountaineer remains secure. Bonington has continued to be active in the mountaineering community, serving as an ambassador for the sport and working to promote safety and sustainability in the mountain regions he loves. In 2015, Bonington was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to mountaineering, recognizing his lifetime of achievement and his contributions to the sport. He has also received numerous other accolades, including honorary degrees and awards for his lifetime of adventure and leadership. Chris Bonington's impact on the world of mountaineering is immeasurable. His boldness, leadership, and pioneering spirit have set a standard for generations of climbers who aspire to follow in his footsteps. He remains an iconic figure in the world of adventure sports, and his story is one of courage, exploration, and a never-ending quest for the summit. As of the last years of his life, Sir Chris Bonington continues to be a revered figure in mountaineering circles, with his legacy living on through his accomplishments and the inspiration he has provided to adventurers and mountaineers around the world. His contribution to the sport and his influence on the mountaineering community will never be forgotten. Furbatashi, born on November 25, 1974, in the Solukhumbu region of Nepal, is a legendary mountaineer who has left an indelible mark on the world of high-altitude climbing. His early life was rooted in the rugged, mountainous terrain of Nepal, where the towering peaks of the Himalayas loom large in both physical and cultural significance. Furba was born into a Sherpa family, a group known for their exceptional mountaineering skills, and his connection to the mountains began at an early age. Growing up in a small village near Mount Everest, Furba was familiar with the dangers and rewards of high-altitude climbing. His father, a former porter and guide, played an essential role in shaping Furba's future by introducing him to the world of mountaineering. Sherpas have long been the backbone of mountaineering expeditions in the Himalayas, and Furba's upbringing steeped him in the traditions of his people. With deep respect for the mountains and an innate ability to thrive in extreme environments, at the age of 12, Furbatashi began working as a porter, carrying supplies for foreign climbers attempting to summit the Himalayas. His work exposed him to the harsh realities of high-altitude expeditions, where the challenges of weather, physical endurance, and the dangers of the mountains were always present. Though physically demanding, the job taught him the essential skills and mental toughness necessary for a career in mountaineering. Over time, Furba's abilities as a porter were recognized, and he was given the opportunity to work as a climbing Sherpa, assisting experienced mountaineers during their Everest expeditions. During his early years as a climbing Sherpa, Furba developed the mental and physical attributes needed for high-altitude climbs. His remarkable stamina, incredible strength, and unique ability to withstand the debilitating effects of altitude made him stand out among his peers. This laid the foundation for his future success, setting him on the path to becoming one of the most prominent mountaineers in Nepal. Career peak, climbing Everest and setting records. Furbatashi's rise to prominence in the mountaineering world began with his first successful summit of Mount Everest in 1999. However, this was just the beginning of what would become a legendary career. Over the next 2 decades, Furba would go on to summit Everest an astounding 21 times, setting a record for the most summits by any individual Sherpa at the time. His unparalleled success in summiting the world's highest peak earned him the reputation of being one of the most accomplished and respected climbers in the world. In 2002, Furbatashi's reputation as a world-class climber was solidified when he set a record for summiting Everest 5 times within a single year. This achievement was an extraordinary feat, demonstrating not just his physical prowess, but also his remarkable mental fortitude. Furba's multiple expeditions to Everest every year showcased his ability to recover from the grueling physical and mental toll of climbing at such high altitudes, a testament to his exceptional endurance and commitment to the sport. Furba's repeated successful summits were not only remarkable in their frequency, but also in their consistency. Unlike many climbers, who may only summit Everest once or twice, Furba's repeated success was due to his intimate knowledge of the mountain, honed over years of experience. His ability to navigate the technical challenges of Everest, coupled with his understanding of the mountain's behavior, weather patterns, and potential hazards, made him an invaluable asset to any expedition. In addition to summiting Everest, Furbatashi played a crucial role in many high-profile expeditions. His leadership skills, paired with his technical expertise and high-altitude experience, were highly valued by foreign climbers, teams, and mountaineers. He was often called upon to help guide foreign climbers to the summit, ensuring their safety and success in navigating Everest's treacherous terrain. Furba became known not just as a skilled climber, but as a guide and mentor, someone who embodied the Sherpa's reputation for being the backbone of high-altitude expeditions. Main achievements, records, and recognition. Furbatashi's primary achievements are centered around his extraordinary success in summiting Mount Everest, his contributions to high-altitude mountaineering, and his influence on the global mountaineering community. With 21 summits of Mount Everest to his name, Furba was recognized as one of the foremost experts on the world's highest peak. His records and achievements include: record number of Everest summits. Furbatashi's 21 summits of Mount Everest made him one of the most accomplished climbers in the world. His record was groundbreaking and established him as one of the most accomplished Sherpa mountaineers in history. The first Sherpa to reach the summit 10 times. Furba was the first Sherpa to reach the summit of Mount Everest 10 times, a feat that showcased his incredible endurance and expertise in climbing the world's highest mountain. Multiple summits in a single year. In 2002, he summited Everest 5 times in 1 year, a record for Sherpas. This remarkable achievement highlighted his ability to climb repeatedly in quick succession, a feat that required extraordinary physical and mental strength. Influence on mountaineering techniques. Furbatashi was known for his deep knowledge of the mountain and the use of traditional techniques. While many climbers relied heavily on modern technology, Furba's expertise in navigating Everest without relying on expensive equipment or technical gadgets earned him the respect of the mountaineering community. Mentorship of young Sherpas. Throughout his career, Furba took it upon himself to train and mentor young Sherpas, passing on his knowledge and skills to the next generation of climbers. His legacy goes beyond his personal achievements. It is also rooted in his commitment to helping others from his community succeed in mountaineering. Environmental advocacy. As a Sherpa, Furba was acutely aware of the environmental impact of mass tourism on Mount Everest. He was an advocate for environmental conservation on the mountain, working to raise awareness about waste management and the preservation of the Everest region's fragile ecosystem. Furba's contributions to mountaineering were not limited to his record-breaking climbs. His role in advancing the sport, mentoring young climbers, and advocating for environmental sustainability made him a truly unique figure in the mountaineering world. Challenges and setbacks. Despite his incredible success, Furbatashi's career was not without challenges. The physical and emotional toll of repeatedly summiting Everest was immense, and the dangers associated with high-altitude climbing were always present. One of the most significant challenges Furba faced was the increasing commercialization of Everest expeditions. As the number of climbers attempting to summit the mountain increased, so did the risks associated with overcrowding and poor decision-making. Furba's own safety and the safety of his fellow climbers were often threatened by the growing number of inexperienced climbers, who sometimes put themselves and others at risk due to poor preparation or disregard for the dangers of the mountain. Despite these challenges, Furba remained dedicated to his work, always putting the safety of others before his own. He understood the risks and dangers of Everest better than anyone, and this wisdom often made him the guiding force behind successful expeditions. Another personal challenge that Furba faced was the growing awareness of the emotional and physical toll that repeated high-altitude climbing can take. Over the years, many Sherpas have expressed concerns about the long-term impact of climbing on their health. For Furba, the physical strain of repeatedly summiting Everest began to weigh heavily on his body, leading him to contemplate the future of his climbing career. Despite the risks, Furba's passion for mountaineering never waned. He remained dedicated to the mountain, his community, and his role as a guide and mentor. Over time, he transitioned from leading expeditions to focusing more on training and supporting the younger generation of climbers in Nepal. Final years and legacy. In recent years, Furbatashi has reduced his participation in high-altitude expeditions, transitioning to a more reflective and mentoring role. While he has officially retired from climbing Mount Everest, he continues to work closely with the next generation of Sherpas, ensuring that they are well prepared for the physical and mental demands of mountaineering. His influence extends far beyond his personal climbs, as he has become a key figure in promoting the welfare and recognition of Sherpas in the mountaineering world. Through his work with various organizations and foundations, Furba has become an advocate for the Sherpa community, raising awareness about their contributions to the climbing world and advocating for better working conditions, improved safety measures, and sustainable mountaineering practices. His commitment to the Sherpa people and their future is a central theme of his life's work. Furbatashi's legacy as one of the greatest mountaineers of all time is secure. With 21 successful summits of Mount Everest and numerous records to his name, he has earned his place in the annals of mountaineering history. But his true legacy lies in the countless lives he has touched through his mentorship, advocacy, and leadership. He remains a symbol of resilience, dedication, and the enduring spirit of the Sherpa community. Achievements at a glance. Number of Everest summits, 21. First Sherpa to summit Everest 10 times. Most summits in 1 year. 5 summits 2002. Mountaineering mentorship. Trained and guided numerous Sherpas. Environmental advocacy. Worked to raise awareness about environmental sustainability on Everest. Conclusion. Furbatashi's life and career reflect the extraordinary spirit and resilience of the Sherpa people. From humble beginnings in the mountains of Nepal to becoming one of the world's greatest mountaineers, his achievements are a testament to the dedication, skill, and fortitude required to conquer the world's highest peaks. His legacy continues to inspire mountaineers, Sherpas, and climbers around the world, and his contributions to the mountaineering community and his dedication to his people will be remembered for generations to come. Reinhold Messner, born on September 17, 1944, in the South Tyrol region of Italy, is widely regarded as one of the greatest mountaineers of all time. Growing up in a rural, mountainous area, Messner developed an early fascination with the Alps and the broader world of high-altitude climbing. His upbringing in the Dolomite Mountains was pivotal in shaping his passion for mountaineering. The harsh yet beautiful landscapes of the region would later become the proving ground for many of his most famous ascents. Messner was born into a family of 9 children in the small village of South Tyrol, which was part of Italy, but culturally tied to Austria. Raised in an environment that demanded both physical strength and resilience, Reinhold's early life was marked by hard work and close contact with nature. The rugged terrain surrounding his home gave him the opportunity to explore and learn climbing techniques from a young age. His first climbing experiences were in the Dolomites, where he began to hone his skills, often in the company of his brother, Gunther. The relationship between Reinhold and his brother would play a significant role in his early mountaineering career. They formed a climbing duo, and together they undertook increasingly ambitious mountain expeditions. Despite the growing challenges, Messner's desire to push his limits in the mountains only grew stronger. This period in his life was defined by an inner drive to ascend the highest peaks and explore the most remote corners of the earth. As a teenager, Messner was drawn to the idea of climbing beyond the Alps and toward the world's highest mountains, specifically the Himalayas. He became determined to pursue this goal, studying mountaineering techniques and learning about the great explorers who had already reached the highest summits. His desire to scale the 8,000-meter peaks would eventually become the central focus of his life and career. Career peak: climbing the 8,000-meter peaks. Messner's true ascent to global fame came through his bold and pioneering expeditions to the highest mountains on Earth. He is best known for being the first person to climb all 14 peaks over 8,000 meters without supplemental oxygen, a feat that remains one of the greatest achievements in the history of mountaineering. His daring and unconventional approach to high-altitude climbing made him a legend. Messner's first major success came in 1970 when he and his brother Gunther attempted to climb Nanga Parbat, the ninth highest mountain in the world, located in Pakistan. The climb turned tragic when Gunther fell to his death during the descent, leaving Reinhold to return to the base camp alone. This harrowing experience deeply impacted Messner, but it also strengthened his resolve to continue pursuing high-altitude climbs, albeit without the presence of his brother. In 1978, Messner achieved one of the most significant milestones of his career when he became the first person to summit Mount Everest without using supplemental oxygen. The feat was a true test of physical and mental endurance, as climbing at that altitude without oxygen is extraordinarily dangerous and difficult. Messner's success on Everest was a testament to his ability to endure the harshest conditions and his belief that climbing without oxygen would allow him to better understand the mountain and his own limits. This achievement was followed by a series of successful climbs, many of which were performed in difficult, solo, and unassisted conditions. In 1986, Messner made history again when he completed the first ever solo ascent of Mount Lhotse, another 8,000-meter peak in the Himalayas. Lhotse, located near Mount Everest, is known for its sheer cliffs and treacherous conditions. Messner's success on Lhotse further cemented his reputation as one of the most accomplished and daring climbers of his generation. Over the following years, Messner continued to ascend the world's highest peaks, completing his 8,000-meter list and achieving a series of other groundbreaking climbs. His method of climbing without supplemental oxygen and his decision to focus on solo expeditions pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible at high altitudes. Main achievements: shaping the world of mountaineering. Reinhold Messner's achievements in mountaineering are unparalleled in many respects, and his contributions to the sport continue to resonate with climbers around the world. Below are some of his most notable accomplishments. First person to climb all 14 peaks above 8,000 meters, Reinhold Messner made history by becoming the first person to summit all 14 of the world's 8,000-meter peaks, all without supplemental oxygen. This monumental achievement, completed in 1986 with his ascent of Lhotse, earned him worldwide recognition. These 14 peaks are some of the most challenging and dangerous mountains on Earth, and Messner's ability to summit them all was a game-changer in the field of high-altitude mountaineering. Summiting Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. 1978. Messner's ascent of Mount Everest in 1978 without supplemental oxygen remains one of the defining moments of his career. At the time, it was considered virtually impossible to survive such an ascent without supplemental oxygen. Messner's success on Everest not only broke new ground in mountaineering, but also demonstrated his unyielding spirit and his ability to transcend conventional limitations. Solo ascents of the world's highest peaks. Messner's solo ascents, including his historic solo climb of Lhotse in 1986, pushed the boundaries of mountaineering. His solo climbs were often accomplished without any external assistance, and many were completed in winter, during the most challenging seasons. This solitary approach to climbing was revolutionary, as it forced climbers to rethink the way expeditions were organized and what it meant to be truly independent in the mountains. Innovative approach to high-altitude climbing. Messner's philosophy of climbing without supplemental oxygen was a departure from the traditional methods of high-altitude mountaineering. His approach emphasized a more intimate connection with the mountain and a deeper understanding of the climber's own physical and mental limits. By rejecting the use of oxygen, Messner sought to enhance his awareness of the environment and elevate the mountaineering experience. Legacy as a mountaineering icon. Messner's achievements extended beyond his climbs. As a mountaineer, he served as a mentor and an inspiration for climbers worldwide. His contributions to the mountaineering community were not limited to his personal climbs, but also to his active promotion of mountaineering through books, lectures, and films. His ability to push the limits of what was possible in mountaineering has inspired countless climbers to follow in his footsteps. Environmental advocacy. Later in his career, Messner became a vocal advocate for the protection of mountain environments. He raised awareness about the impact of tourism and climate change on the world's highest peaks. His concerns about preserving the natural beauty of the Himalayas and other mountain ranges resonated with environmentalists and climbers alike. Challenges and setbacks. Despite his successes, Messner's career was not without its difficulties and setbacks. One of the most notable tragedies in his life was the death of his brother, Gunther. During their expedition to Nanga Parbat in 1970, Gunther's death haunted Messner for much of his career, and it influenced many of the choices he made in his climbing journey. The tragedy marked the beginning of a period of personal reflection and a shift in his approach to mountaineering. Messner also faced intense physical challenges during his climbs, as high-altitude mountaineering can take a severe toll on the body. The lack of oxygen, extreme cold, and grueling conditions all contributed to the difficulties of his climbs. Furthermore, the psychological strain of solo climbing and the weight of responsibility for his own safety in the world's highest mountains tested his mental resilience. Another significant setback in Messner's career came with the 1986 expedition to Mount Lotz, where Messner faced near-death conditions. Despite these challenges, Messner's ability to persevere and continue climbing even after such harrowing experiences became a defining feature of his mountaineering career. Final years and legacy. After completing his goal of summiting all 14 of the world's 8,000-meter peaks, Messner began to shift his focus toward other mountaineering-related endeavors. He founded the Messner Mountain Museum in 2006, a network of museums dedicated to the culture and history of the mountains. The museums are located in South Tyrol and focus on promoting the cultural, natural, and historical aspects of mountaineering and the Alps. In addition to his museums, Messner continued to write extensively about his mountaineering experiences. His books, such as My Life in the Mountains, have become essential reading for mountaineers and adventure enthusiasts alike. Through his writing, he provided invaluable insights into the mental, physical, and philosophical aspects of high-altitude climbing. Messner also took on various political roles, advocating for the preservation of mountain regions and the reduction of the environmental impact of tourism. As of the 2020s, he remained active in the mountaineering community, making public appearances and sharing his wisdom with future generations of climbers. Reinhold Messner's legacy is one of pioneering spirit, relentless pursuit of excellence, and an indomitable will to explore the unknown. His impact on mountaineering is immeasurable, and his name is synonymous with the most challenging and revered summits on Earth. Seo Chae-hyun was born on March 23, 2003, in South Korea. Growing up in the vibrant city of Seoul, she was exposed to various sports from a young age. However, it wasn't until she discovered sport climbing at the age of 8 that Seo found her true passion. The sport, which combines strength, technique, and mental fortitude, quickly captured her interest, and she showed an early aptitude for the physical and mental challenges it posed. Her journey into climbing began when her parents enrolled her in a local climbing gym. Initially, Seo's motivation was simply to have fun, but her natural abilities soon became evident. She excelled in the sport's combination of problem-solving, agility, and endurance. Within a few months, she was already showing promise, impressing her coaches with her quick learning and strong competitive spirit. At the age of 10, Seo began to participate in local competitions. Though still very young, she quickly made her mark in the youth climbing circuit, winning several titles and catching the attention of South Korea's climbing community. As she honed her skills in bouldering, lead climbing, and sport climbing, Seo's talent began to blossom, setting her on a path to becoming one of the world's top athletes in the discipline. Throughout her early career, Seo's dedication to climbing was unwavering. She trained relentlessly, spending hours each day in the gym perfecting her technique and building her physical strength. Her commitment to the sport, combined with her natural athleticism, laid the foundation for her future success in international climbing competitions. Career peak. Dominating the world stage, Seo Chae-hyen's rise to prominence in the world of sport climbing was meteoric. By her early teenage years, she had already established herself as a formidable competitor on the national stage. Her breakthrough on the international climbing scene came in 2018, when she began competing in global events and quickly earned recognition for her consistent performances and impressive results. Seo's career truly took off in 2019 when she secured several top finishes in prestigious international competitions. Her ability to combine raw strength with technical skill allowed her to excel in both bouldering and lead climbing, making her a well-rounded climber and a serious contender for major titles. Her rapid ascent in the sport was not just a reflection of her climbing ability, but also her mental toughness and ability to perform under pressure. One of the defining moments of Seo's career came in 2021, during the International Federation of Sport Climbing IFSC World Cup season. She made history by winning the World Cup in the bouldering category, a feat that cemented her status as one of the best climbers in the world. Her victory in the World Cup marked her as a standout athlete in the sport and highlighted her ability to compete at the highest levels. She also showed strong performances in the lead climbing category, consistently finishing in the top spots in international competitions. In the same year, Seo made her debut at the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics, where sport climbing was introduced as an Olympic event for the first time. Despite the immense pressure and the high stakes of the Olympics, Seo delivered a remarkable performance. She finished in the top 10, placing among the world's elite athletes in her Olympic debut. The experience solidified her reputation as one of the most talented and promising climbers in the sport, with her ability to handle the intensity of Olympic competition earning her widespread respect. Seo's career continued to soar. She became known for her versatility and her ability to perform across different climbing disciplines. Whether in the bouldering gym or on the lead climbing wall, she displayed a level of skill and determination that set her apart from her peers. Her performances were characterized by technical precision, creative problem-solving, and an unwavering focus, qualities that earned her admiration from climbing enthusiasts and fellow athletes alike. Main achievements: a record of excellence. Seo Chae-hyen's achievements in sport climbing are numerous, and her impact on the sport has been profound. As one of the top athletes in the sport, she has amassed several notable victories and accolades that highlight her skill and dedication to climbing. Some of her most significant achievements include IFSC World Cup Champion 2019. Seo Chae-hyen made history by winning the IFSC World Cup in bouldering, a title that solidified her as one of the top climbers globally. This victory was particularly notable as it was her first World Cup win, and it marked her as a dominant force in the climbing world. Olympic debut at Tokyo 2020-2021. Seo's performance at the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics, where sport climbing made its debut as an Olympic event, was a defining moment in her career. She finished in the top 10, competing alongside the world's best climbers, and proved that she could perform under the intense pressure of the Olympic stage. Multiple gold medals in IFSC competitions. Seo has earned multiple gold medals in IFSC competitions, showcasing her dominance in the bouldering and lead climbing disciplines. Her ability to consistently perform at a high level has made her one of the most successful and consistent climbers in recent years. Youngest female to win World Cup titles. Seo is also known for her impressive achievements at a young age. Her success in the IFSC competitions and her rapid rise to the top of the sport made her one of the youngest climbers to win World Cup titles, setting a new standard for future generations of climbers. International recognition and sponsorships. Seo's success has garnered her international recognition and support from major brands in the climbing industry. She has been endorsed by several sponsors, further establishing her as one of the leading figures in the sport. Role model for young athletes. Beyond her athletic achievements, Seo has become an inspiration for young athletes, particularly young women, who aspire to break into the world of competitive climbing. Her dedication to the sport and her determination to succeed serve as an example for others to follow. Final years, legacy and continued impact. As Seo Chai-hyeon continues to compete at the highest levels, her influence on the sport of climbing remains profound. Even as a young athlete, her achievements have already left an indelible mark on the climbing world. In the years following her rise to prominence, Seo has focused on refining her skills, participating in major climbing competitions, and using her platform to inspire the next generation of climbers. Despite the challenges that come with balancing training, competition, and public life, Seo has maintained a commitment to her growth as an athlete. She continues to participate in major international climbing events and has expressed a desire to continue representing South Korea at the highest levels of the sport, including at the World Cup and future Olympic Games. Beyond her competitive achievements, Seo is also committed to helping grow the sport of climbing, particularly in South Korea. She has become an influential figure in the climbing community, offering support and mentorship to aspiring climbers. Through her efforts to promote climbing and make it more accessible, Seo is contributing to the growth of the sport, especially among young people and women. Seo's impact is not limited to her athleticism. She has become a role model and ambassador for the sport, demonstrating that with hard work, resilience, and a passion for the outdoors, anything is possible. Her success in breaking barriers and achieving excellence at such a young age continues to inspire athletes across the globe. As of today, Seo Chai-hyeon is regarded as one of the most exciting and accomplished young athletes in the world of sport climbing. Her incredible achievements, her dedication to the sport, and her inspiring journey from a young climber in Seoul to a world-class competitor are a testament to her hard work, talent, and passion for climbing. With many years of competition ahead of her, Seo is sure to continue making history and inspiring future generations of climbers. Seo's legacy as a pioneering figure in sport climbing has already been established, but her story is far from over. She is poised to continue breaking new records, winning new titles, and inspiring climbers around the world for years to come.